Well, hey again. I got so many messages about the relationships video that I was going to post up and did post up. But before I posted it up, I got a lot of messages from people saying they were excited to hear what characteristics I look for in a man. And I realized I didn't really touch on that too much in the last video. So rather than just tacking it on to the end and making a really, really long video that you'd probably get bored of halfway through, I figured I'd make a second one because I got some messages from women who are going through some of the same stuff I'm going through. Dating in the fitness industry can be really challenging. So I figured I'd maybe just touch on what I do look for. But that being said, I think I'm going to not be dating for a while. So in the last video, I sort of touched on how some of the men that I've met recently just aren't as focused on inside, learning about themselves, learning about their partner, communication, compassion. I tend to meet guys that I find are funny, great personalities, outgoing, caring, but a lot of the time, in my experience, the men that I meet tend to be very emotionally closed off, not in tune with their feelings. If there's an issue, if we ever get in a disagreement about something, they don't want to talk about it. If there's something going on in their personal lives that's really affecting them, they don't want to talk about it. So I have never been a fixer. I am not the type of girl that looks for red flags and wants to, I can change him. No. I'm completely the opposite. If I see red flags, I'm probably going to hit the road. I tend to run from stuff like that. I've seen it before and I don't want to deal with it. So if I hear somebody that I'm dating use the words, I don't want to talk about it, and if we're getting deep into something that's maybe a little tough to talk about and they just turtle, they run away, they don't want to talk about it, they hang up the phone, they shut the door, they go to bed. Going to bed angry is something I will not do. And yeah, I'm gonna run if the guy doesn't want to talk about stuff because that's important to me. So some of the messages that I got from women in my DMs when I was talking about posting up this video were that they find men in the fitness industry tend to have these flags, not great communicators. They are a little bit more focused on external rather than the internal, so don't really care as much about communication. So that's number one for me. Something that I definitely look for in a man is ability to communicate. I like guys that are in tune with their feelings. But that being said, I tend to go for the blue collar, rough, tough, big burly men. I like a manly man. You know, they can get dirty um, and those are usually, in my experience, the types of guys that aren't great communicators. So it's tough. I have not, I'm not going to say no, 50-50. Go for the lean, ripped, shredded, six-packy kind of guys. I tend to gravitate more towards, at least recently anyway, the more manly man, big, tall. I'm tall, so I need somebody who's taller than me. Um, yeah, just if you're too focused on your six pack, if you're too focused on your abs, and if that's all you care about and you don't care about your partner, that's not the type of guy I want to be with. So while being interested in fitness and health and looking good, nothing wrong with that at all. I'm all for it, but there needs to be a balance, and finding those guys that have the balance of the two is difficult. Again, in my experience, I have found that shorter men typically are nicer, better personalities, easier to get along with, a little less narcissistic, in my experience anyway. I had a long relationship with someone who was 5'10". I'm 5'8", and that worked out really well. I find really tall men tend to lean on, I'm tall, I don't need to do anything else. And again, that's a sweeping generalization. There's only been a few that have been like that, but I'm scared of really, really tall men because I've had bad experiences in the past. So maybe height isn't a factor. Scrap all that previous stuff. This whole video is just gonna ruffle everybody's feathers, isn't it? I don't. Probably in summary, there's no real type for anybody. Like guys, girls may gravitate towards this characteristic, that characteristic, but there's like those core values that are the most important. Somebody close to me a long time ago said, write down your non-negotiables, and those are the things you should be looking for. Everything else is just icing on the cake. Your core values, if it's communication, only date people that are good communicators. If it's loyalty, only date people that won't cheat. Of course, that's hard to know ahead of time. If it's family values, if it's sense of humor, just make those your core values, and everything else is extra. So again, I'd love to hear all of your thoughts on what's important to you. If I've missed anything, if there's anything else you want me to touch on, let me know in the comments. This is probably just mostly rambly, but I did have some messages from people asking what I looked for in a man. So there you go. Physical characteristics, not super important. I have met guys who only focus on physical characteristics. They only care about how they look, and they are not good people. Not my type. I don't need arm candy. I want somebody with a kind heart. I want somebody who cares about me, somebody who is loyal, thoughtful, and love languages. Let's touch on love languages. Love languages might sound kind of soft and fluffy and maybe not super important, but if you haven't read it, I would really recommend, because it really opened my eyes in a lot of ways on relationships I've had in the past. Some people, is really important to spend quality time together, not just time, but quality time doing something. For other people, they like to be on their own, they like to be independent, they don't need time. So if those two personalities aren't communicating with each other and realizing that they're on different pages, that can be a problem. Physical touch is another one. Acts of kindness is one that's really big for me. I used to have a boyfriend who would pluck just a little flower, it can even be a weed, flower from the lawn on his way home from work and give it to me. And I just thought that was the sweetest thing. Just a small little gesture to show that you're thinking of me goes a long way, for me anyway. For other people, not so much. Like I said, some people that would mean nothing to them. Little acts of kindness. I would write notes in one of my ex's duffel bags, put little things in his pockets when he went away for work, so that he knew I was thinking about him. He may not find it for 3 or 4 days, but he'd be, going into his gym bag to grab his socks and find a little note from me saying I was thinking about him. So that kind of stuff I love, but to somebody who doesn't speak that love language, that just might be, no, that's stupid. And then, yeah, if those two types of people don't know what their love language is, it's not going to work. Could be the best connection ever, could be two people that work really well together, but if your love languages are off, it can cause some friction. So that's another important thing. Let's wrap this video up because it's starting to get rambly now, but if you have any questions or think of anything else I've missed, let me know, and love to hear your comments. So thanks again for listening.